Hello there. Atheist Junior here, aka Young Hovand, aka AJ, aka the GOAT Atheist Rapper on YouTube. And I'm going to make a video right now or live stream talking about the reasons that I first became an atheist and the reasons why I call myself one today. So I see a lot of atheists on YouTube who were former theists. Either they believed like Paulogia, or in the case of Matt Dillahunty, he was actually a Southern Baptist preacher. It can be hard to wrap my head around going from one extreme like that to the other, although the scenario of someone growing up with a religious family that makes them go to church, baptize them, and had them accept Jesus before they had the faculties to make an informed decision about that. I can say that they grew up surrounded by religion, especially in the case of Judaism, where manhood is directly tied to passing a religious ceremony that requires tons of preparation and memorization of Hebrew. Holidays, family events, food, language, and so many traditions in their lives have the foundation in religion. So sometimes these people can be very sheltered, like in the case of young earth creationists. They go to religious schools, private schools, so their friend group, as well as all of their family, can have the same beliefs. It's not until these people get to college age, where they become more educated and step into the real world, that they start to learn correct information and not the misinformation or outright lies their pastors and parents told them. And some of them become atheists. And people wonder why atheists can sometimes have a reputation as being angry. Well, I'd be angry too if I felt like I was lied to my whole life. So that scenario makes a lot of sense to me. Less so when people have access to all the information. Although I know that there's no right way to come out of religion, and it takes some people a lot longer than others, like Seth Andrews, for example, the thinking atheist. That wasn't my experience, though. Although as a child, I wasn't devoutly religious, though I'm not sure that's really possible. I was going to church, and I can remember when I was about 7 years old, I was in Sunday school, and the person leading the group, I refused to call her a teacher because Sunday schools do not teach anything. The teacher or the group leader was introducing us for the very first time to the story of Noah's Ark, and I can remember thinking, there's no way they could fit that many animals on a man-made boat. Nor could 3 or 4 men build such a structure back then, or have food for the animals. And I was shocked at the way that a global genocide was presented in such a casual way. But it was specifically that one moment of doubt about fitting that many animals. In that moment, I became an atheist. Ever since then, I couldn't say that I was convinced of any of the claims of the Christian religion or any other. It all just fell apart. Nowadays, I think I can articulate why I'm an atheist for more and better reasons than just that one specific point that didn't make sense to me back then. Now, that may not sound like a good reason to completely reject theism or Christianity, but I'm simply giving an honest account of my thought process back then. So, the reason that I'm atheist now: when I hear somebody give the positive claim that God exists, I answer the question by applying two things: Occam's razor and Hitchens' razor. If you have two scenarios, one being that God created man in his image and divinely inspired men to write the Bible, and the opposite being that man wrote mythology and created gods in their own image, the simpler explanation is the latter. Secondly, since no evidence has been presented to me, nor have I found any in my search, that means I can dismiss the God claim without providing my own evidence. In my opinion, because of archaeology, we know that all of the holy texts for every religion on earth were written by men. The Bible describes a God that gives rules for people living in Israel, and that was the part of the earth that the holy texts of the Bible were written in. A flood story, allegedly about a global flood, was written in the Iraqi floodplain. God is anthropomorphized as a big, invisible, bearded human living in the sky, as well as Jesus being God in the flesh. The society in Israel was a patriarchy where citizens who weren't Israeli could be taken as slaves because they were seen as outsiders. And God finds this okay and describes rules for a patriarchal society of Israelites. Now, God could have said, oh, you shouldn't own slaves, but I guess God didn't want to buck the social traditions. And God doesn't seem to care much about the rest of the world. Now, Israel is 8,360 square miles. The Earth is 170 million square miles. So I guess maybe he forgot to tell the rest of the world what they should do. I don't think this is just a coincidence. I can't find it reasonable to think that people who wrote about God just happened to get it right. Human beings die, especially in the time that the early texts were written, the Bronze Age. Lifespans were extremely short, and a lot of people died in childbirth. So it makes sense that humans would want to make religions where they have an afterlife after they die and everything is perfect. So another reason why is I simply don't see the need for religion. All of the greatest advancements, especially in the past 100 years and going way back farther than that, have been made from science. And many of the human rights atrocities, slowing of education, and bigotry have been attributed to religion. Science studies the natural world and is about making novel and testable predictions. Saying that God did it has it has perfect explanatory power, but zero predictive power. Back when people didn't know what caused lightning, they thought it was thrown by Zeus and thunderclaps caused by Thor, until science told us that lightning is actually an electrical discharge caused by the imbalances between storm clouds and the ground or within the clouds themselves. It happens when the negative charges of electrons in the bottom of the cloud are attracted to the positive charges, protons, in the ground, and thunder is caused by the rapid expansion of the air surrounding the path of the lightning bolt. So that was two more gaps previously occupied by gods that were filled by a scientific explanation. And because of science, because of meteorology, we can use this to predict when and where the worst storms will happen, as well as hurricanes, tornadoes, etc., evacuate those cities and inform people in advance and use that to save lives. But even today, right here on YouTube, you will see the same God of the Gaps argument used to describe how scientists don't know how the origin of life happened. That's not exactly true. Scientists studying abiogenesis, they know many different scenarios of how it happened that could individually be true or could all be true simultaneously or a combination of explanations. For example, you could have RNA, the precursor to DNA, developing on montromilonite clay on land, while you have deep sea vents that are very warm, causing chemical reactions. Because all the origin of life really is, when you simplify it, is geochemistry converting to biochemistry. Now, I can almost guarantee that if hypothetically, when science has learned exactly how the origin of life happened in a natural explanation that doesn't require God, people will be making YouTube videos or the equivalent of how God still created the universe, because we still have a gap in our knowledge about what happened during the Planck epoch, or if the universe is eternal, or really did start along with time starting at the Big Bang. Yes, hello to people in the chat. That was just something that I had written that I've been wanting to talk about on the channel. So, Paul in the chat posted. Does that mean you sent it, Paul? I don't speak British, so now. Oh, hello, Brady, Paul, Spooky Bedhair, and Doc Fearsome. I'm gonna post a link real quick in the chat. Now, unfortunately, yesterday I went on to the Reformation server on Discord, and I had a chat with none other than Darth Dawkins. Now, I say it's unfortunate, although it's unfortunate just talking to him because he is just insufferable. I mean, um, I knew that it was bad. Hello, Brady. I knew it was bad because I had watched many videos
Do you hear
of
me?
talking to Darth. Yeah, you're good. Um, it was bad enough, but I tried to record my conversation with Darth because I actually made it to almost an hour. It was about 50 minutes that I talked to him, and I wasn't able to record it correctly. And then I did it a second time and messed that up as well. So I'm hoping maybe, the YouTuber Tom Rabbit was there. I don't know if he was in there, but maybe he recorded it. So we'll see. But I plan on talking to him again anyway. But um, how
You
are
know,
you?
the part about the lightning made me think of where there's one part in the Bible where God is described as a volcano.
That's true. The story of, I think, when Moses was going towards, to get the Ten Commandments, they followed a pillar of smoke during the day and a volcano at night. And, he was a volcano god, but later on became sort of an elemental air god because,
And some creations say that like that's I don't know, that's like proof of like his power or something because there's apparently no volcanoes where they were allegedly at instead of, them being wrong of where they're at currently or not currently.
well, I think that they say the Ark landed on Mount Ararat, but Mount Ararat is a volcano, so I'm not sure about landing a wooden boat on an active volcano. But I feel like maybe they changed God to from being a volcano because maybe they thought, oh well, maybe this isn't the only volcano that's around, unless they thought God was every volcano at once. So he sort of went from the volcano god to being an air elemental god, and now it's just God is everywhere at once, which I guess means that God is currently inside like the digestive tract and anus of every person on earth.
And towards the beginning of the Bible, it says that God's face moves over the water. And unless you want to take that literally, where he just stretched his face over the ocean and just let it move, or
The
it could be
Watcher?
describing air.
Yeah, that's a tricky one because I guess they obviously had no idea about cosmology and about what the universe could have been like before the Earth was formed. So maybe they thought that there was some type of water there because the way that the earth and universe is described in the Bible is that it's a flat plane, a disk that has a dome over it, and above that in space is where water is, and that water comes through the dome. So they thought there was water in space. So that could be why the Bible starts like that.
Yeah, when they
They,
questioned what it's sitting on, they said four pillars, which doesn't explain what it's on.
yeah, they think that it was a sort of disc that was sitting on four pillars. That's why they describe the four corners of the earth, and the fountains of the deep were where those pillars were under the earth. So there's water under the earth, under the disc world, and above the earth around the sort of, it's kind of like a snow globe, but the water is on the outside of it. So um, do you know when you became an atheist? Was it just always, or did you used to be like a Christian, or
Well,
how would you describe
the weird
yourself?
thing is, because I I was born into Christianity, as most
Hmm.
people were, but I didn't just believe what anyone said. Now I don't know why I did that, but you know, but whenever I heard like all of the like happy ways the preachers said, like horrific things that happened or happened with quotations, like you said, the ark where it's mass genocide and other things. I mean,
Yeah, there's artwork of uh, the if you look at images of a children's Bible, or images associated with young kids where it's describing the ark. You have this sort of goofy, cartoony looking ark with the giraffe's head poking out, and like maybe
Yeah,
there's like a beaver gnawing on the side, which actually, kind of seems like a real problem, but it's supposed to look real cute. And, they're on water, but what's not pictured is all the dead bodies that were probably engorged with water floating around. Um,
yeah, and all the people that are like, and all the people and animals that are all around the ark because it's supposed to be massive, and they
right.
surely saw something floating above the water and started swimming to it for hope, but only to see the ramp that most
Yeah.
drawings have just pull up and then go back
Hmm.
in and have the doors close just for
Yeah, I
them to
mean,
know that they're as the water goes up, they're drowning.
yeah, I mean, if God was going to kill every person on earth, I can't think of a more painful way to make everybody die. And again, it's arbitrary which it's not just humans, but it's arbitrary which two, or some of them were seven of each animals were picked. But so a lot of animals just got killed for no reason. Um, like you didn't happen to live where the ark was constructed, although somehow I guess penguins and polar bears and camels from the Sahara Desert were also there. I guess they had modern refrigeration
Yeah,
and as well as heating in different parts of the ark. I'm not sure about that, but do you
and
remember, like, oh, so
what
did you
about
not really? Oh, go ahead.
seals and stuff? Or wait, no, maybe not seals. Like the animals that can't just live in the ocean, but like they sometimes go on just on land to rest or sleep. Like what about
Yeah,
them?
like sea lions.
Yeah, do
I,
they have a moon pool? You know what that is, right?
Yeah, I've actually heard, I think Kent Hovind described something like a moon pool within the ark. So maybe they had
That's
hot
only a
tubs.
modern that's only a modern thing because like you know like usually boats don't have a moon pool, but the ones that
Hmm.
do need to be very stable because if water gets into the moon pool and starts making it tip over, it's going to sink. And I don't think a wooden boat with no modern stabilizing, whatever could do that.
Right. And the in the Bible it says that they put pitch on the outside of the ark because they didn't have modern lacquer to keep the wood protected from water. So they would have had to have it on the inside too if they were going to have water come in, because you really don't want water getting on wood because it's going to warp it and make it swell and more weak. So it's one of the worst materials you can use to build a boat. It's also flammable.
Y- Yeah, and and the part where it says that it brought two of every animal, that doesn't make sense because you're going to need to bring extra animals onto the ark, and you can't just refrigerate it at that time, so you're going to
Well,
need to bring like extra cows or extra whatever to feed the lions and leopards and whatever.
well, according to some creationists like Kent Hovind, all of the animals were vegetarian for some reason.
Yeah, and
And
they say that the spiky teeth um on
T-Rex,
yeah was to eat like giant berries because everything was big back then. But
yeah,
like what they don't understand is flat teeth grinds, but sharp teeth just poke holes in it.
right. Sharp teeth are for tearing and ripping into flesh, but what we were saying a second ago, like bringing only two animals, and although the Bible said, that there were seven of some, although, but still, you can't bring only two bees because bees are a colonial organism, and also if you're talking about insects, like there are plenty of animals that don't have lifespans of 1 year. They're animals that would have died before the ark landed and could have gotten off and started to reproduce, like grasshoppers or mayflies or, lots of different insects or small animals. They wouldn't have made it the entire year. And even if these animals were vegetarian, it's like, well, when did they become carnivorous? Was it right when the gate opened from the ark when they got on land? Was it like long enough to let the weaker animals escape? Because if they're carnivorous, then you eat one of the animals and that population goes extinct. So I guess
Well, I mean,
was there a grace
all of the
period where?
dinosaurs, like all of the dinosaurs except for like a small few died instantly the moment they stepped off the ark. So maybe.
Yeah, well, I hate to keep referencing Kent Hovind, but he seems to have an answer for a lot of this stuff. It could be a stupid answer, but it's an answer. I think he said something like that there was climate change that killed the dinosaurs, which I guess he believes that, but doesn't think climate change is happening now, which is stupid.
Yeah, and
And
the only animal that had, abundance of food was termites. And like how did he manage to tame termites? Like
I don't know. Robert X, what are you referring to when you say them stop them from multiplying? Um,
no, I mean tame them, like have
yeah,
them not just eat all the wood in their immediate area.
yeah, it's a good point. I'm not sure. Maybe you could keep them in some sort of enclosure, glass cage or something, or just keep an eye on them. Just check in on them, like. But it's like, what would they eat? And at the same, this is something I've always wondered is, what did the anteaters on the ark eat? And if they were vegetarian, then why did Adam name them anteaters, or did he not name them that? And if he didn't, then what was the original name? And if they were vegetarian and didn't eat ants, why do they have the long snout and tongue that's almost, seems perfect for eating ants? You know, like it's almost
Yeah,
like it was designed to eat ants, but then if you say that the anteater is designed, then how does it fit in on the ark? Like that's, and also how did it exist in the Garden of Eden if there was no death? Like I don't know about that, but I imagine there would be an
yeah,
awful lot of fleas and
yeah, and
flies.
the the uh like chameleons and like those kinds of those ones uh like their tongue, you know how they can like launch their tongue at insects and stuff.
Yeah, it's like got muscles in it.
It turns out that their tongues are actually like perfect for like they've like evolved like a certain kind of saliva that literally like men like melds with the plasticky skin of insects. Like what
Wow.
happened there if they're supposed to be vegetarian?
Well, I guess God designed them to evolve that stuff after they got off the ark. Hello, Peter.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh, I'm
Hello.
I'm
Good.
fantastic. I'm
Yeah,
loving every minute of it.
yeah. Thought since you already have a Dutch guy in the side chat, why not have one join here? So, hey, Robert X, Doc Fearsome, Spooky Bat here.
Well, on this channel, diversity is our strength. So
Before,
Yeah.
but I that would be post flood diversity. I take it from what you were talking about.
yes, biodiversity is our strength.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Uh, um, there
By
would
the
be
way,
fleas. Go ahead.
talking about the flood. Did you see the debate that I was tweeting about? I saw you reply, AJ, to one of my tweets. The debate that RJ was in, but Otangelo was in that as well.
No, I've heard about it, but I haven't watched that one yet.
Oh, you have to watch that. You really, really have to watch that. Otangelo was the smartest theist in the entire hangout because he said absolutely nothing during the entire debate.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah.
I do think Otangelo is smarter than many theists I've come across, though. Although that's not saying much.
He's definitely the most honest one that I've come across. He said to me, "I don't know," several times, which is what you usually don't get from a theist.
Right, I agree with that, especially Darth Dawkins. Like I was talking to him yesterday, and we were.
You were?
Yeah, where? I went on the Reformation server on Discord and started talking to Darth. I didn't get to record it. Like I tried to, but I messed up the recording. So, but I plan on talking to him again, though.
Keep an eye out on Supreme Leader streams. It might be that they're streaming it there, so you can grab it from there. And also keep an eye on maybe Tom Rabbit will capture it.
That's what I was saying earlier. Does he have to be in the Discord call for him to capture it? Because
I think Tom Rabbit has several people who will record things and then forward it to him. I'm not entirely sure.
Because we had 2 conversations, and the first one was about 50 minutes long. So I imagine, nice. Yeah, I'm surprised I made it that long before getting booted, because I got booted both times. And I imagine that if somebody who records this stuff was there, that they would probably want to tape like a conversation that was that long between somebody that Darth has never talked to before. So I'm hoping to see it come up, because I messed up the recording of it, because first I recorded it and I was on my phone and there was just no audio recorded, and then the second time it recorded my audio but not Darth's. The funny thing was, the second time I went into Darth's stream, they were watching Amy's show. Which was pretty funny to me. I didn't realize that Darth was like creeping on her. A bunch of Darth's minions came into the chat and were like demanding the StreamYard link, but it was before that, when she says that we'll open the floodgates and let people join. It was when they were watching a video at first. But what Darth was saying was that he asked Lawrence Krauss something about he asked him a question and Lawrence said, "I don't know." And this was like a huge deal for Darth. Like, he said, "I don't know." I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
that's an honest answer.
Yeah. Sometimes it's literally the only answer, but
well, he very specifically wants certain answers. Like literally the second time I talked to him, I didn't last very long, because he was asking me questions about causality, and he said, if you answer reality, I'm going to boot you. And my answer to the question was cause and effect, and he kicked me out anyway.
What was the question?
I don't remember. He was asking me something about how do you know about what the causal relationship is between events? And I said, it's cause and effect. And then he kicked me out. I was and I've noticed Darth's new tactic that he likes to do is, if he doesn't have a good response to something, or he'll just say, "That was gobbledygook."
Mm-hmm.
You just say, you could give a totally logical answer and he'll say that it was just, that was a nonsense answer.
Yeah, he's not the most honest person to talk to. He has his own interrogation tactic, which is pretty much the same thing that is banned in Holland for the police to use, because it's just butchering you with the same question over and over until you get the desired answer. And there's one thing, you'll never get an honest answer with that tactic.
Yeah, I said that I was telling him that he lied to me, because Darth said that he would answer questions about his worldview, because, like I said, we went like 45. The whole call was 50 minutes, but towards the end, I wanted to ask him a question, and I was trying not to overtalk him at all. I was trying to stay calm because I do see people that talk to Darth that uh, they will overtalk him too, and it just devolves into a shouting match. And I was trying to not really be respectful of him, but just keep it to where you could tell that if somebody starts yelling, it's going to be him. It's not me that's escalating things and interrupting. It's
No,
him.
this was not
Makes him
me.
first.
This was somebody clearly impersonating me.
Oh, Darth was so mad when he found out there was a soundboard. It was so funny. Like he was like, "This is what these atheists on YouTube do. These are cockroaches." Like,
I've got one problem with my soundboard.
What part of it's supposed to be cockroaches?
I'm running out of
atheists are
hotkeys.
cockroaches.
I'm running out of hotkeys.
Like the only analogy I've heard about cockroaches is from Aaron Raw, which is whenever you use, I forget. He said like whenever you use a, I don't know, I forgot.
Yeah, he and I called him out on this too, because I've heard him describe atheists as cockroaches, and of course, in his chat room, but he said, "Oh, I'm only describing that as some atheists, the ones who leave comments talking about me but won't come and talk to me." And I said, I can agree with that, not with the name calling, but if you make comments about somebody like Kent Hovind, then you should be willing to debate that person. Instead of just talking shit,
I mean, yeah.
There's a fairly easy way around it. The way I do it, and it worked with LPP. Just saying that the moment you resort to ad hominems, that is you admitting that you've lost because you ran out of arguments.
Yeah.
And if you keep saying that, it's going to bug them, and they will stop doing it.
Yeah. Hey, Peter, do you think that I should debate Nephilim Free if I have the opportunity?
Honest answer, no.
I really don't want to.
No. So here's the thing. If you're going to debate him, I know you a little bit. He's going to rage quit on you because he's going to go off on long diatribes and monologues.
I know.
And you'll never get a word in. And the moment you're going to complain about that, he's going to rage quit. And also, the guy has discredited himself so much already. There's no gain in debating him. He's been messaging me on oh damn, what is it? The phone thing that's now within Windows. Skype. He's been messaging me on Skype for almost a year that he wants to debate me, and I've told him it's not going to happen.
Well, I messaged or I left a comment on Matt Powell's video, telling him to debate me, and he wrote back outright refusing. So I told him that I debated Kent Hovind and it didn't go well for him, and I don't know if Matt Powell saw that debate and doesn't want to debate me because of that. Although I kind of doubt it.
No.
That would be funny, but
I know why. I know why Matt doesn't want to, because Matt Powell stopped doing debates online, and the reason for that is because he likes to cut up and edit a debate so he can mock his opponent. If the full debate, however, is somewhere to be found on YouTube,
no, that's what Ray Comfort does.
Kent does that to like people him.
No. So Kent does his whack an atheist thing. That is usually a rebuttal to someone who made a response video to him. So he's basically doing what the people in the response video are doing as well. They take snippets from a certain YouTube stream and respond to that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, Kent isn't smart enough to know how to edit a video. And
no.
he just plays the video. Although what he did with Aaron's debate, where it's a video exchange debate, is he skipped certain parts of Aaron's video, which to me,
Mhm.
that's exactly the same thing. That's just as dishonest.
For people who haven't seen it, you, AJ, got him to respond to his own response videos. So basically, responding to something that he already had responded to, thinking that he was responding to you, but he was in fact responding to Simon Dan. It's
Yeah,
probably the weirdest video I've ever seen coming from Kent Hovind.
yeah, that was bizarre, and it honestly, I don't know if he did that to sort of mess with me, like, hey, I'm going to have you on Whack an Atheist, but I'm not even going to show your content or respond to you.
For some stupid reason, he thought that Simon Dan was your content. Didn't
Well,
even recognize that he'd already responded to it, because he at some point he said, "Look, it's from different videos because Simon Dan has different clothes on, and so do I."
no
It
shit.
it didn't even ring a bell. Wait, haven't I done this before?
Yeah, and then there were Kent Hovind fans in his comments saying, "Look how dishonest Simon Dan is. He's different shirts. It's editing the video like."
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, Kent he showed that it was from my channel, and I think maybe the reason he picked that video is because, he's going after Simon Dan because Simon Dan has a ton of subscribers, and I think if I don't know how many videos of mine Kent saw the thumbnails to or actually watched, but I don't
I'm
blame
pretty
him for
sure.
not wanting to respond to my videos about him because they make him look pretty bad. Like, what he's going to respond to Kent Hovind is a racist.
I'm pretty sure he saw the young Kent Hovind rap. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know about that, but he all
But
he said in his video was that he showed a screenshot that showed the Simon Dan video and Kent Hovind hates dogs, and he said that he didn't watch the Kent Hovind hates dogs video, which I don't know. I can't say which video he saw or didn't see, but
so we don't have a ton of subscribers, and if you look on our channel very deep enough, because this is literally one of the first videos that I posted on the channel, is a video about Kent Hovind advocating for child abuse, and he did go over that in one of his videos a while ago. So
oh really?
it doesn't matter if you have a lot of subscribers. I think.
Yeah, but that's one of
If
those
if
things that's like still that is for some reason still allowed, but like it's normalized, though it shouldn't be.
yeah,
Well,
I know for a fact that the video that of me that he responded to was I got into a fight with a creationist on Twitter, and he then literally said to me, "I'm going to tell Hovind about the video that's on your channel," and he did, and he
I'm gonna tell my
gave me a
dad.
screenshot. He gave me a screenshot of when he did, and then Hovind actually talked about it, which I thought was hilarious.
Can you send me a link to the Hovind video if you can find it where he responds to it? Can you DM that to me?
That was over a year ago, so I have no clue in which vid that was. He was still in Pensacola when that happened, so that's a
Do
long
you
time
know?
ago.
You don't remember what the title might be?
No.
Well,
I
I'll look
can
for it.
what I can do is I can do a search on my tweets to
Okay.
see whether or not, but I'm not entirely sure because I got suspended and had to start a new account, so it could possibly have been on my old account. I have no clue, but I'll have a look.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty good at searching out Hovind's videos and finding what I'm looking for. Because in my education with my PhD in Hovindology, I've amassed the skills to find stuff in his content. I told Kent before our debate that I basically watched every video he's ever produced.
Well, I haven't
It's
watched
true.
all of them, but I have watched, I think, at least more than 75%.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I
I've
don't know
seen.
how you managed to do that. Like, you got to be going insane by now.
You might have a point there. Just ask
You
around
guys
what
know
people think about.
you guys know the definition of insanity?
Yes.
I don't.
Doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
Oh,
Expecting Kent Hovind to
I
actually
don't
bring in evidence.
Yeah,
I don't
I
expect a different result.
No, I expect exactly the same result every time. So,
Well, I can say that you know, I can compliment Kent Hovind on certain things that, like he's obviously a good public speaker. He's skilled at that. And I do think that Kent is funny, like in his own way. He does make me laugh sometimes. And if he wasn't entertaining, I wouldn't watch his videos. You know what I mean? So he does know, in a sense, how to make a video that can be entertaining to both like a Christian or an atheist.
Yeah, at least his jokes are different.
Yeah, I mean, I will say like some of the like Bible study videos are kind of more boring, but
Mhm.
I think the late great Bill Ludlow said that people watch Kent Hovind to see what he'll say next.
Yeah, and you have to give kudos to Theodore, because I think the reason Kent is now doing Bible study videos is because Theodore butchered him over that
Hmm.
that
Yeah,
he didn't know his Bible and that he never did Bible studies.
well,
So he started doing those when he was still back in Pensacola, and Theodore was still around.
Well, there's another reason for that. That Theodore told him to do Bible studies is because he wanted to make sure that Kent was presenting an image that what he was doing was a church ministry. So daily Bible studies, because now that, like I said, DAL post Kent getting out of jail is a 501c3 corporation. So they'll take your status away if they think that you're not actually a church. You know what I mean? So that was
Mhm.
smart of Theodore, in my opinion, to tell him, because if all Kent did was videos talking about whale penises, it wouldn't really seem like a church ministry.
No, no, and it didn't. It wasn't a
Hey
ministry.
kids, come down to my church. I'll talk about whale sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
I
if, and if you
when
don't want to
I
listen, you can get yourself killed on an all-terrain vehicle that we
right,
were given.
because helmets are
Mhm.
not allowed at DAL.
No.
I actually, when I rewatched the debate, or when I watched it back for the first time the other day, um, noticed that Ken actually said some pretty nasty things about Muslims towards the end of the debate. I didn't catch that because um, when the debate was actually happening, like things were going back and forth so fast that rewatching the debate, there was stuff Kent said that I had no memory of him saying. Uh, it was a way different experience, like watching the debate and then actually being in it. But towards the end, he said, and I'm not surprised because he's done this before, but I said that there's a scientific consensus about evolution, and that if you want to teach science, then you should look to what the scientists agree on and what they think should be taught and teach that. And he said, "Oh, that's just an argument from majority opinion." Okay, which it's not just that; it's the majority opinion of the qualified experts in the field. But he was saying that a majority, if you look at Muslim countries, then a majority of them think that if you kill a Christian, that's a great thing, and that will get you to paradise. And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Like, are you
Yeah,
saying
like
that?
he completely missed that. Like you say scientists, and he thinks Muslims. That doesn't make sense.
Well, he's talking about like appealing to just a majority of people can,
Yeah, yeah.
be wrong because, but there's a big difference between just the majority and the majority of people who are specifically well educated and qualified in the field, the experts agreeing on something. It's a big difference. And
Yeah.
again, like, but like a majority of Muslims, they don't think that. What you're describing is terrorism. That's Muslim terrorists that think that. So I was a little bit offended that he said that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what does
Yeah,
this
and
have to
he's
do with
comparing
anything?
he's comparing people who have evidence and, science on their side to people who took their religious beliefs a little too far.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like,
it's also Kent trying to muddy the waters, because if you're talking about something that is consensus within science, it's not because the majority of scientists believe it. It is because it's been tried to be debunked, and no one has succeeded in debunking it.
right.
And then it becomes consensus, because if someone has findings and people are trying to shoot those down and can't,
Yeah, but if you
then
say that to Kent, he's gonna think, his fallacy-filled arguments have debunked it already.
Right. Well,
yeah,
I asked, there was several questions I asked him that he completely dodged. Like, I asked him that question of, if because he said we should teach science in science classes, and I said, if you think that, then shouldn't we look to what the scientific consensus is and what the scientists think should be taught, which is evolution, and teach that in science class? And he totally waffled on the answer, but eventually said no. And I'm thinking, well, what he said was that, don't you know that science used to be wrong about a bunch of things? And so I
Mhm.
Yeah, and
said,
that's the
so,
fallacy of non-contradiction.
yeah.
right. So I told him, so we should teach science in science classes, but we also shouldn't trust science and scientists because science has been wrong about a bunch of things. And he couldn't give like an answer. He totally dodged the question.
And
Yeah,
the
it's like,
answer to that is, haven't scientists been wrong? The answer to that is yes, they have, and it's always other scientists who figure that out and correct it. It has
yeah, that's
never
what I was gonna
happened
say.
that a creationist has corrected someone. And this also goes, Kent, for your favorite examples, like Piltdown Man. Piltdown Man was never accepted within science and debunked by scientists, not by creationists. The ones peddling it still today are all creationists.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard there was only like one scientist that believed it, but the moment he saw the scientific, chemical makeup and stuff, proving that it's not real, he dropped it immediately.
I don't know. So for Piltdown Man, I think it was rejected across the board the moment they had a find. The drawings that Kent will show weren't drawings made by scientists or requested by scientists. Those come from an article in a so-called science magazine, who had
And
recruited an artist to make those drawings up, which are ridiculous, because how would you know how the wife of someone you found a tooth from looks like? On that I agree with Kent, but he's misrepresenting stuff by saying the scientists had these drawings made up. That's 100% false, and easy to find that is false. So
AJ, you
Yeah.
remember the fetuses
Mm-hmm.
drawings? Like, do you remember the when he made a comparison, and there was one that clearly had a bunch of stuff like launched out of like its stomach region?
Yeah,
Like,
what that is a I believe that is like a reptile in the top one, and it's the same one except in the bottom picture it's got a maternal yolk attached to it,
yeah,
which Haeckel in his drawings made sure when he was comparing embryos to make sure that they didn't have extra material like that, that
yeah.
they were positioned the same way and that they were lit the same way.
Yeah,
So
it's called a yolk sac, and the other thing that Haeckel did was take the most most compelling images that he could find to compare the two.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about the ones that he claimed were the actual things, and there was one that had something that looked like it was bursting out of its stomach. Like it was clearly something was wrong, and that's not what it's supposed to look like.
Well, I think because I know what you're talking about, where it's the black and white like images, and you have a top
Yeah.
row that looks like one thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that is the yolk, because
by the
that
way,
there are reptile embryos that look like that at some point.
there's one thing that I've meant to tell you about, and I wanted to do that before the debate, and I forgot. Just in case that topic should come up. AJ, do you remember that? It's not too long ago. Owen was talking about abortion, and he showed a picture of an embryo in someone's hand.
Yeah, that was fake.
Well, no, the picture is real.
No, well, the picture
Except
is
the
real, but it's
embryo.
not a real baby.
No, the
It's a
embryo
model.
is a model made
Yeah.
by an artist who sells those on Etsy.
Yeah, that's what I meant when I said it was fake.
Yeah.
Because he presented that as an actual human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. So now I remember. I wanted to tell you about that. So when he got to his famous, we need to stop telling lies to people. You could have brought that up. You could have even brought up the picture, and one from Etsy showing that it's a fake. That it's I don't know what the material was that she made things out of, but that would be a good
I
one
believe
to
it was
counter
like
in a
silicone.
debate.
Yeah. There was watching it back, there was definitely things that I could have nailed Hovind on. Like I believe he said that red blood cells have DNA in them, which I don't think that's true. And as for questions that of mine that he dodged or had no like response to, there were several. I think another one was when I was asking him about, he was talking about how like a horse and a mule are the same kind and they have a difference of 2 chromosomes. And I told him, well, a human being and a chimpanzee have a difference of 2 chromosomes, but you think that they're a different kind. And he said, oh yeah, there's no connection between those except for they have a common designer. And I told him, well, that's a double standard. And he was just like, okay.
Yeah, I really hate how he just dismisses it.
Well, I view that as a victory because if you know Kent, he has a response to everything. He has an answer to everything. He loves to talk. So when I
I
give
know
him
it's
a point and he doesn't say anything, to me that's telling, because he's got no
This
response.
really gets under my skin when he doesn't acknowledge that he's clearly wrong.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then people
That's
in the
how you
back
know
are
he's
laughing.
dishonest.
His minions are laughing. I'm like, what's funny? Like, is that
but
not a good?
he can't admit that he's wrong because it is his income and his Sims are watching. If he's now going to admit that he's wrong, he's going to damage his own position, and he can't have that because he needs the dollars to come in.
Well,
And that's all there is to it.
Yeah, another like direct dodge was I asked him if you took a bunch of like skulls from dogs, like Chihuahua and then Great Dane skull and like a boxer skull, and just a bunch of them that are all different sizes and different shapes and look very different. Like you think dogs are all the dog kind, but if you take, human skulls, Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Australopithecine skulls, and lay them out, they're extremely similar. But you think one is mankind and one is ape kind. And instead of answering the question, he started talking. He said, like, "Oh, well, with dogs, we can compare. We can look at them and their full bodies and the fur and their legs." And I'm like, I'm talking about skulls. And then he starts talking about how, oh, somebody came to my seminar and said that if you gave me like some generic mutts, we could get them to be Great Danes and Chihuahuas in 100 years. So I'm like, first of all, I don't think that's true. But what does that have to do with my question? Like, you completely ignored it.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you do the same thing with all like everyone in the genus, then then it's going to be just as obvious, if not more.
Right.
But you
And
can't because they're dead.
yeah. Somebody, one of the I think SFT's like mods or something said in the live chat, he was saying, "Oh, but like the Australopithecine skulls, they aren't even real. They didn't even find those. They didn't actually find those." I'm like, okay,
Yeah, my
well,
mom said that. And then I pull up Google, type it in, turn it around, and say, here's the skull we never found.
I guess we'll have to retract Donald Johansson's Nobel Prize or whatever awards he got for finding Lucy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that's the problem. They're always going to be dishonest. The literally the only thing you can do is try and get as much out as possible, because maybe one of the people who were watching his content are going to check up on you about it,
Well,
and that makes
that's
them and that makes them think. But that's the only way.
yeah. I
You,
have had some. It's only like one or two people, maybe, yeah, that were Ken Hovind fans that came to my comments and were saying that like that they are creationists, like they're fans of Kent, but they thought that I had made some good points.
Mhm.
And I'm just kind of going through the questions that he dodged real quick because it's fun for me to list them. But another one
But
was
those are the people you want to try and reach because,
yeah,
obviously you can't get through to Kent, but those who listen to you and go, wait, he has a point. Those are the people you're trying to reach.
yeah.
There was
The
one who did make an honest response on your channel.
Yeah, I had a guy who, he came and said, like I saw the debate, like I'm still going to be a creationist or whatever, and I wrote in a comment saying, I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't be a Christian or even that you shouldn't be a creationist, but if what I'm trying to show you is that Kent Hovind is not giving you honest information. So if you have to be a creationist, there are better sources of information. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want a slightly more mature creationist organization, you can look to Answers in Genesis, because at least then there are people there that have actual degrees. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And another person was saying, like, like I'm a Kent fan, and you were saying like he's lying about stuff, but what was he lying about? And I told him, well, look at the slide about the mammoth, and I went through and listed some things, and some of the things he didn't think they were lies, but he said, like, I guess the mammoth slide, what you're talking about, is true, so he was actually agreeing with me on some of the things, and these people came to my channel, and I didn't expect that,
Oh,
because
the one I mentioned, and I responded to that person as well. He was honest. He or she was honest and said, I don't believe everything he says. And I'm hoping you can get that particular person to come on your channel and maybe have a conversation, not a debate, but a conversation. That would be good.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with preachers, because I would hear from one person that the Bible says this, and then the preachers will say Bible says that. And that's why I really never believed either of them, because neither of them prove that they're right.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That I would like to talk to a Kent Hovind fan like that on my channel. I think that would be very interesting, because
Yeah.
he was at the end of the comment he said that, well, if Kent doesn't actually pay property taxes and those are what go to fund a school, then he shouldn't be complaining about that. I'm like, yes, that is my point.
Yeah. That's exactly the point.
Yeah,
And
because the Kent fans like that are far and few in between.
Yeah, and I noticed, there's all the comments on Kent's video, all the comments on SFT creationists complaining about me and insulting me. None of them mentioned the tax issue. None of them bring that up because
Nope.
they can't. It's all a bunch of like, why isn't he on camera? What?
Yeah,
What? From people
that's
who have
Dad
sock
says not to
accounts.
talk about it, so I don't talk about it. That's how it
Yeah.
is.
yeah, and this all hindsight is always 2020, but you could have used the fact that Kent asked you why you weren't on camera, and have used that during the debate and said, "Oh, before we go further, you asked me why I'm not on camera, and that is because until now I couldn't afford a camera. So if any of your followers wants to buy me one, they can get in touch with me and then throw your email address out."
Yeah.
I mean,
part of
that's a good comeback.
Yeah, I feel like the real thing they're saying is I want to make fun of this guy's personal appearance and I can't do it. So,
Mm-hmm.
Which he never did.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, but
uh-oh.
it's something you can counter. Oh dear. Oh dear.
Guys, we're fucked.
What we have
No,
here?
Okay,
no.
what we have here is
Guys,
a
I'm the scuba diver. I'll be
is good.
fine.
Oh, okay. That's good. Oh, I can see in your icon that. Yeah, that's cool. I would be way too scared to ever do that. Like I would drown in shallow water with a full oxygen tank. I would die somehow.
I saw a shark twitch, and I noped out of the first moment I could.
Yeah.
I wonder, is the shark going to talk or just play music?
Hi.
How have you been?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
I'm good.
I'm sorry, I missed your show with Amy yesterday. I saw you were a guest in Amy's last show. I entirely missed that, so I'll have to go back and watch it.
Yeah, you should watch the part where him and Sunflower get into it. That was my favorite part.
Oh, Oz, want to give me a spoiler?
Well, let's just say this: I'm the adult in the situation. So
as I would have expected, but
so I pieced out because I wasn't there to like get my emotions involved or get upset or anything. So I pieced out. So nothing got crazy. But then on Discord earlier today, when I was busy, he was talking mad shit about me on Discord when I couldn't go. And then as soon as I came in this evening, and he was still talking shit, I jumped in and I put a Mariah Carey GIF in there, and it said, "Why are you so obsessed with me?"
Great song.
and I will give Atheist Jr. Credit. He said, "Just get the fuck out of here." But he was trying to use the egoism argument, and then I gave an actual paper that was written on egoism and how egoism in and of itself is a fallacy. And he didn't want to read the paper, and I said, "Well, no, don't give me bullshit. Like read the paper. Like read the paper, then comment." And he was like, "Well, just give me highlights." I was like, "No, you do the work. I'm not doing the work for you. Like you do the goddamn work." And then he dipped.
It's not my job to educate you.
Yeah, it's one of those, you can lead a horse to water, can't make it drink.
Yeah, I simply, and the paper's not that long. It's really not that long because it's that easy to debunk. And it's that easy to show that's a complete fucking fallacy because nothing that you're referring to has any validity to it whatsoever. But yeah, so that's why starting last night and going forward, anytime I'm on a stream or on Discord, this is how I refer to him. That's my little flower. That's my little flower. He's my little flower, and it absolutely makes him mad. And that's why I'll keep doing it. He's my little flower.
Yeah, I was cracking up yesterday. That it was so funny.
My little flower.
It's sad though, because at times he derails everything and makes Amy's show go into a complete shit show. And
Well, and Peter, you know me. I'm about at my wits end, because you notice who doesn't come around anymore.
yeah, I've noticed.
Yeah, because I strong armed that motherfucker over and over again, where he had to tap out. He had to tap out, and
I thought I was hard on him. I didn't even come close to how you went after him. So
yeah, I don't. Well,
kudos to that.
And with sharing no details, Atheist Junior and I spoke for quite a while today. Privately, I don't do bullies, man. I don't do fucking bullies. If you think you're a bully, fuck you. You don't want to meet me.
Nope.
And the like Sunflower, like, I'm being patient. Like, I'm trying to show him, like, no, dude, I'm willing. Like we can be sarcastic, right? Like we can be smart asses and have fun and jab back and forth. But the, like, even in Discord today, like, the name calling, that you have the mind of a 5-year-old, you're retarded, like, all this shit. It's like, dude, I'm 40 fucking years old. Like, that kind of shit. You say that shit to me, it does not phase me, dude. It doesn't.
No,
like, I'm not, like, I don't know who you think you're talking to. That shit doesn't phase me. But what will get me lit up is if you keep coming on Amy's stream, because I do. Amy, like, Amy and James, it's almost like this, like, Big Brother, Big Brother protection thing, where you can only do it so many times before I'm just gonna start, like, raw dog. I'm just gonna come at it raw dog. Fuck.
We have that in common. We have that in common, and I keep giving kudos to you. You have a lot more restraint than I have. I tend to go overboard at times, which I still need to work on. But yeah, that's the thing. So Amy has a great show going on, and then seeing people demolish the work that she's doing, and in the particular case you mentioned, actively making people not want to go watch it anymore. Yeah, then we've got a problem.
Yeah, and so this isn't like a jockey or anything like that, because I put money into many people's Patreons in our community, so it's not like it's just this one. But for whatever reason, the connection that I've been able to establish and grow with Amy and James, the last 6 months or so, it's I have this, like, Big Brother protective shit, and I'm not there yet, but just let all the warning shots go out. I'm getting really, really fucking close with my little flower. I'm getting really really close, because Amy and James, they mean the world to me, and I respect all of both of them, and I cherish their friendships, and even how they talk to me and how they treat me. And it's we're not there yet. Like I said, we're not there yet, but we're getting goddamn close.
Yeah.
Well,
I've had people try and, like, bully me and whatever, stuff like that. But, like, their reactions whenever I just brush them off is amazing.
Yeah, in my experience, people who are bullies can dish it out, but they can't take it. So, and I came onto Amy's show, for the first time, and like, me and Oz, we kind of, I sort of had a misunderstanding, got off to the wrong foot or whatever, and it was bothering me, so I had to message him on Discord and tell him, like, I wanted to apologize for, like, just the way that happened. And he was been talking about mental health on his show, and how LPP was, like, kind of minimizing that, and I guess sort of as a just sort of sign of me trying to make amends for the way we started off. I had a good conversation with Oz today, where I sort of went into some of the things that I've dealt with in my life, and just how I've moved on from that. And we had a good talk, so it was good.
And things like that can happen, and the adult way to do it, that taking from there, is just have a conversation, get it out of the way, and that's also an easy thing to do.
Well, even publicly, to show it to the community, with atheists and theists involved, and that's why I was very strategic, so to speak, Atheist Junior, when in Discord, when you did that, when you apologized publicly, I made sure that anybody and everybody that would read that, as we were engaging there before, we had the private conversation tonight, that I said it, that no matter what, I know how people perceive me sometimes, and my passion, I put everything on the table. Like, there's I hide nothing. Like, it's all out there, and some people do perceive that incorrectly, in their first interaction, and I get that, and I know that, but I have no issues talking about it and helping people realize that I'm just a big giant fucking teddy bear. Like, I love people, and I'm the first one. Like, if somebody's going through something, I'm the first one to help, and I'm also the first one that I'm in tears, like a little like a little kid, and I'm the first one to be sensitive and break down, because I get it, and that's why I told you in that public chat, whereas, like, I actually have more respect for you now even than I did before, because you did it publicly, and you said that publicly, and I wanted people to see that, because it's important that that those things are seen and heard, and it shows that you can have two people that have an initial interaction where it's like, ooh, I don't know if I like this person. I don't know if I like this person, and then the more you listen and watch and then have dialogue, you're like, oh, okay. Yes, first impressions are first impressions, but they're not always accurate. They're not always accurate, because we could have left it at that. But now here, earlier tonight, we're sharing life stories, and
Yeah.
and we're chopping it up, and and the things you're sharing with me, like, I literally had tears in my eyes, and I'm like, no, if anything, I will share this part of our conversation. If I ever am in a stream and anyone is going sideways or being disrespectful or whatever with Atheist Junior, just know, everybody just part the waves. Just part the fucking waves.
Yep.
I got this shit.
It's going to be a no Vaseline situation, to quote the great philosopher Ice Cube.
Yes. Raw dog.
Well, because Oz talks about mental health a lot, and I told him, I've had some past trauma in my life, and I asked him, if you want to talk about that with me, we can chop it up in the private messages. And I think, like, you're busy that night, so we it's stuff that it's not something that I tell people when I first meet them, but when I become friends with somebody, it's something I feel like I eventually have to talk about, and so I felt comfortable in that way. And like I said, it was sort of like me finishing. I did the public apology, and that me opening up was me sort of finishing that, and just a sign of my gratitude. So, because it is a great community, and yeah, I'm just sort of rambling at this point. But hello, Paul.
No, you're.
Hi, AJ. I thought I'd jump in. I haven't listened to all of it. I was travelling to work when I first tuned in, so I was listening to it calm. Then I'm at work now, so I've just been listening on and off. So I thought I'd jump in. The message I sent you earlier about the camera, I posted it yesterday, so you should get it at some point. I don't know how long post will take from the UK to the US, but the camera is on its way to you, so hopefully that'll be something that'll benefit you.
All right, thanks. Were you saying something else first a second ago?
Well, first of all, Matt, I need to know zero details, but Paul, I'm not getting the camera, but thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I was wanting to say the
Well, I
same
mean,
thing. It's a great contribution. It will help his channel. I've been going over some other things with AJ as well to help up his production value. But yeah, donation of the camera, that's an awesome thing. I know the details because AJ told me about it, so I found the stream you were on. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
spare
yeah,
camera
like
that I have.
you can see the good something does and not be affected by it and still, thank them.
Well, I mean, to be honest, it's nothing. It's nothing
Yeah.
to me. It's just the postage that that it's cost me, which is nothing. So the camera cost me nothing anyway. I had the Chromebook that I use, and the camera isn't that good on it. So I got
Right.
I bought myself a camera, but then at work I needed to go onto live streams at work, so they actually gave me a camera. So it's just a spare camera that I had that's
Right, but
been used half a dozen times. I've still got the original box and everything, so it's in the box and it's in the post. So it's not like I paid for the camera and then I've had to give it away. So to me, I don't find it's just a spare camera. It was just going to sit there forever and a day.
but
Still a
regardless,
great donation, Paul.
Yeah.
So that doesn't take anything away from the fact that you donated the camera to him, and that he can use it. So
yeah, and oh, man, there's I wish there was a way we could account for these things, but then it would almost look like we're trying to get credit for it. But I love that, Peter, whether it's you doing the graphic design and the things that you do, that people would say would be behind the scenes, and Paul, you doing the camera thing, and I just sent out this week a microphone and a camera, to newer up and coming content creators. This is why I love this community.
Yep.
This is why I fucking love this community. But Atheist Junior, to go back, because you asked if I was going to say or if I was saying something. I'll say this, and I'll probably hang out for maybe 5 or 10 more minutes because I got to take my car to the shop here in about 4 or 5 hours. But here's what I know is. Yeah, you and I had that initial like, well, you were like, who the fuck is this guy? Who the fuck is this guy? It was almost if I compare it to the Conor McGregor moment, like, who the fuck is you? Who the fuck is you? That moment, and you not understanding, my background and where I come from, and not only that, but my line of questioning, and what I've been doing. So I completely understand why you would have misinterpreted the moment, especially that night, because that night there were certain motherfuckers on that stream that wouldn't shut the fuck up. That wouldn't shut the fuck up. When I was trying to go through an SE or Socratic line of questioning, and it's pivotal. It is pivotal that if you're going,
wasn't that me, Oz?
Oh, you were one of them, Peter.
Yeah, well, that was literally the first live stream I'd ever been on. So
so here's the thing, and I can chime in on that. Oz, you do have somewhat of an intimidating voice. I'm not saying that's something that you actively do, but it is your voice. You've got a very deep voice. You're always calm, and everyone knows that some persons are most dangerous when they get extremely calm. That's where you need to watch out. So
yeah, I agree with that.
The fact
your
that
voice
people
is
might misinterpret that sometimes is just obvious, but people who know you will know different.
What are you saying, Paul? Peter, Paul?
Yes,
I'm saying
you come across very confident when you're talking as well. So that can be intimidating when you're talking to somebody who's extremely confident in what they're saying. That can also be interpreted as intimidating, I suppose.
Well,
yeah, and we should all get together and sing
Kumbaya, my lord.
You asshole.
Kumbaya. Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya.
Tom Rabbit, did you get that? Tom Rabbit?
Yeah. Well,
So
I was
We have to thank Sigma Ni for that. I think I don't know if you got it from him as well.
No, I did it. I did it from the live stream.
Okay. Yes, Sigma Ni. I know he messaged you and sent you a link to his YouTube files. He's been collecting sound bites from Darth Dawkins, especially for people to put into soundboards. So I thought that was a really nice gesture.
I was saying earlier when I was in Darth's Discord channel and they were watching Amy stream, he was getting so pissed off when he heard the soundboards, and then Oz said something where he got like really close to the microphone or something, and he was like, "Listen to how this creep talks," like. It was funny, and Darth was just like he didn't know like he had never seen that video before, so he completely didn't understand what was going on, and I just thought it was funny that he was watching the stream like.
Oh, and that's why because Otangelo every once in a while will tip me off like, "Hey, Darth is watching," and now that I have it, because this is the stream, the episode, whatever that I was in, and this is how he addressed me.
Here, this guy is a pathological liar.
So like, cool story, bro. But Paul, before we went off on that tangent, you had said something. Do you remember what you said? Because I missed the first part of
it. Which bit? When I was saying about you having you're confident when you speak, that bit.
That might have been it.
Yeah, I was saying that. You've got that voice where when you're talking, you come across as very confident in what you're saying, and some people might interpret that as intimidating as well. When you're talking to somebody who's extremely confident in what they're saying, it can be intimidating. So maybe some people find you intimidating that way because you've got a confident voice when you speak.
Oh, so that's why LPP already know what the motherfucking deal is, right?
Yeah, fair point.
But doesn't saying like that they're a pathological liar and saying don't listen to them, doesn't that like remove the whole point of a debate and stuff?
Oh, Darth hates me, Brady. Darth like I'm probably on his top 5.
I'm sure.
Yeah, he because I don't do any of his precept bullshit. But
he has a dartboard with Oz's face taped to it, a picture of him taped to it.
He's like, "Fuck Oz, fuck Oz." But
yeah, AJ, I hope you find that that stream that he was on that he didn't manage to record, because I'd be quite interested to listen to that. If you want to stay on for an hour, that's an achievement.
Yeah,
for an hour.
I plan on talking to him again, but yeah, I'm hoping because a lot of people are paying attention to Darth these days, so I imagine because they want to record stuff like that, so we'll see.
It's been like that. It's been like that for 20 years, but. Paul, I do have to ask a question real quick before I dip out. So are you still chilling out with Praise and Gavin and all them bastards?
Yeah, to some extent, yeah.
What was that?
Yes, I do go on there quite a bit. So yeah, when he goes live, I do jump in sometimes.
Okay, so do you hang out with them? Like yes, no, maybe so.
Yeah, I go on their stream if he's got some. If he's live and I've got a spare, half an hour or something, I'll sometimes jump in.
Are you just in the chat, or are you actually go in? Okay.
Sometimes I go in.
Sometimes you go. So you do know that like there's people that you respect, or at least from what I hear from you, and I want to make sure this remains respectful. There's people that you respect in the atheist community that they take low blows at, like they attack and they try to humiliate. And guess what? We not all, but there's some of us that we don't take the low road and we don't dip to that level because we are adults and we choose to remain respectful and not call people like retards and idiots and psychopaths and what was it last week alone from Praise, all the names that got called. So the reason I'm bringing it up is because I'm not going to affiliate with myself with anybody that's going to line themselves with people that are cool with that line of conversation.
Yeah, but I suppose you can use the thinking of keep your friends close and keep your enemies closer, I suppose.
No, that's bullshit.
I would hope that if you do go on there and you hear that type of thing, that you challenge them on that. That's what would be my hope.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I don't normally go when they start like that. I don't normally go on. I don't like to get into that kind of conversation. I try to avoid. To be
I'm just saying, if they take it there first and they're starting to, like, if they're watching a stream back or somebody's video and they start using ableist slurs like that, I would, or just insulting in general.
Yeah, I don't think they've actually been on when they've actually done that. I might have been in the chat when they've done stuff like that. But
Paul, I'm just jumping in because I really do need to go to bed here soon. And so just cut to the chase. So just in the last 48 hours or so, just because I did a debate review, and I did not make it. You can go back to the Raging Atheist channel right now, and he does his own shtick. Right, I'm not going to take any responsibility or anything for what he does, but I can say on that stream when I was on there with him, there were no personal attacks. There was zero calling anybody retards, psychotic, retarded, dumb, stupid, inept. None of that. None of that happened. And before we went live, I told Rage, I'm not engaging in that. That was agreed upon before we even went live. The closest thing that you could get to a quote unquote personal attack is I joked about that every time Gavin goes live. I didn't even talk about him having his pants off. I didn't even touch that. I talked about every time Gavin goes live, he literally looks like he just got out of a bathtub or a shower. And he's profusely sweating. Right? That's the only and that's just an observation. That's an observation. That's not a judgment. That's not me attacking his character or his intelligence or his ability to make an argument, anything like that. Right? So we do that. And before the stream even ends, Paul, before the stream even ends, and I had to dip out because I had all 6 of my kids at the house that day, and he and Randolph kept going on the stream. Before the stream was over, your boy Praise has already started. If this tells anybody how childish and how ridiculous this guy is, already starts a stream to. I want to make sure everybody understands what we're saying right now. Praise wanted to review a review of a debate.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was watching the Raging Atheist video, I was thinking, like, wait a minute, okay, how many levels deep are we? Because Rage is streaming right now, and he is responding to Praise I Am That I Am a Baked Ham stream, who is watching a stream of the review, a stream with Rage in it, of a debate with Gavin and Randolph. So Rage is in there twice, so it's like 4 layers deep of YouTubeception.
And I told Rage, the only reason I didn't have an issue with him doing that is because of how disgusting Praise was in his review of his review, and the absolute insults and absolute misrepresentation of anything and everything we said through the entire thing. So the reason I say all this, to bring it back around, Paul, point blank, you and I have had nothing but great interactions, and you've come on and done a show or two with us on our channel before. But if Praise and Gavin and those fine people over there are who you're going to align with, I'm good, bro. I'm good. Like I have complete. I'll have complete separation. Like we can talk. We can be cool, but we won't do anything. We won't do anything in the future because I will have nothing to do with anybody that as a part of that or associated with that, because they are they're the complete anti what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I get you.
Can I just add that in that stream, Praise was changed whenever he described your channel, Oz, he would he would change the last letter from a T to a D intentionally, to call it that, which is just it's like playground level stuff. It's just stupid,
Yeah, and Paul, I don't know if you listen to it, but because I think I don't think I think I know right now up to this point, maybe that'll change it, that you and I respect each other. This person, Praise, told me or accused me or said publicly that I am retarded, that I'm dumb, I am a mental midget, I'm psychopathic, I am narcissistic, and there was three more. The list was. I wrote a list down. There's three more that he made accusations of, and for me, Paul, if people come at my friends like that, I don't fuck with them no more. I'm like, go eat shit, dude. Go eat shit.
Yeah, fair enough. I can't recall.
Paul, can I give my take on that? Because for the most part, I agree with Oz. I'm just pretty simple when it comes to that. If we don't go on their channel anymore, they'll run out of content, and that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I've got a no tolerance policy when it comes to LPP. He's no longer welcome on my channel after the engagements that I've had with him. I'm just not going to even allow him to derail my stream. And another thing that I just wanted to say is that Sunflower also has been doing this thing of using I don't really want to repeat the word, but calling somebody a crackhead as an insult. And I just wanted to say that if somebody did, first of all, you don't know that from just watching someone's YouTube stream, obviously. But even if somebody did have a substance abuse problem, using that as an insult is, to me, no different than insulting somebody for mental health issues or using autistic as an insult. That just tells me that that person has never struggled with addiction or had to deal with a family member who's had that, because I just think that's a really low, just a low way of insulting somebody. I don't find it appropriate.
No, I don't find it appropriate either. And like I say, when they start with the insults, I don't think I've been actually in their stream when they've actually. I might be wrong. But I don't think I've actually been on their stream when they've started with the insults.
Well, and Paul, they normally don't. And like I said, I do have to go. Paul, when they have the atheists that they think they're cool with, that are in they're in the fold, so to speak. They're much more passive, and soft. But when the cool atheists are gone, the atheists in the fold are gone, the real shit comes out. The real shit comes out.
Yeah, and that makes sense that you didn't see them acting that way when you were there, because they're intentionally doing that,
Yeah. I mean, I have heard the insults that they've come out with. I've been listening to the streams when insults have come out with, but I'm quite thick-skinned. Nobody can insult me. It's impossible. They'll not insult me because they don't care what you think.
No,
so I tend to
Paul,
not listen to the insults. To be fair,
no, Paul. It's not about. I'm not affected by it. So I hear what you're saying. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. It's about principle. It's about respect.
I think it's the category of insults when, there are insults like, but then there are insults of a certain category like, an ableist thing, or like I said, the accusing somebody of a drug addict sort of thing. It's a certain line that you cross, in my opinion. Because of course there's going to be there's going to be insults on YouTube and people live streaming and going back and forth. Of course there's going to be that, but I feel like there's a line that shouldn't be crossed, in my opinion, where you've gone sort of too far. Like I said, LPP making fun of James Downard and his like medical issues, and calling somebody, saying that he has dementia, as if like you would go up to somebody with dementia and make fun of them as if that would be okay if he did have it, like there's a line that shouldn't be crossed.
He was referring to James having a facial tic. James knows about it. For James, it's not a problem. Everyone knows about it.
He chooses to be on camera anyway.
And the weird thing is, in our community, it has never come up. I'm a good friend of RJ Downloads, and I have been for several years already. I've produced his shows. I made artwork for him. I helped him out with a couple of things. I've got great admiration for the work that he does, because if you want to brush up on your science, and specifically on countering creationist arguments, you can't get around Tip, his website. So, Sigma NI is in the side chat. Hey, Sigma, I want to thank you. I took the clips, and thanks a lot for adding to my soundboard. Just saying.
And I'll say this with LPP, fuck him. And I said that on the show. Like,
I agree.
I agree with that one. I don't have time for LPP.
After what the shit he said when I left the original stream, that the first time I was ever on one of his streams, and I recorded it all over Facebook, all over Twitter, to make sure everybody heard that shit. I will forever say fuck him. And he's like, as it stands today, he's the only one that I will say that about publicly, because I'm usually cool.
Can you send me a link to that, Oz, if you have that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll tell him, fuck yourself to his face. I did it before,
and for anybody and everybody that hears this now and later, there's been 3 times, and I have the screenshots. There's been 3 times that I have invited that that fine gentleman
outstanding individual
to come onto the Tart Show and to have a conversation, and I'll bring professionals on to talk about what religious trauma looks like and how it impacts people, and what it looks like 10 and 20 years later down the road, but guess what? I ain't heard shit from him. So I'm gonna say this, I'm gonna dip out. First of all, Atheist Junior, just know, going forward, just like with Amy and James and their channel, I got your back. And if I see, hear, feel, sense anybody fucking with you, it's game time.
Well, thank you for that.
It's game time, and there's at least Peter. I think Paul knows, but I know Peter knows what I mean when I say that. Like it's time. It's time.
And there will be 2. I can make that very clear. I'm going to do exactly the same.
Yeah.
About the insults thing, the saying someone's autistic shows how they don't know what autistic means, because there's a gradient from high and low functioning. But it gets really under my skin, because I have firsthand experience with autism with my little brother. And, if anyone messes with him, then,
game over. Right? Game over, right?
Yeah, game over. Yep.
And there are several.
I think the biggest problem is that they still somehow link autism to atheism. I've lost accounts on Twitter battling that particular
Well,
form of idiocy.
that form of Christianity. Let me everybody take a moment of silence, because I'm going to say this as politely as I can. If you associate atheism with autism, fuck you.
Yeah.
That's all. You haven't done your research. You have no ground to stand on. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Zero, none. So this is the last thing I'm gonna say, that I wanted to say before I dip out. Paul, I do. I love you and respect you. But I do have to draw a line tonight, because I've already drawn a line with even myself and our team. And when I say our team, the Tang Tart team, where we stand with fucking Praise and Smokey and Gavin and all that bullshit. Like we're so much better than that. We're so much better than that, and we're not going to waste our time on that. So if from me to you, as friends that have done a few shows together, do you? I'm never going to tell anybody to do something or not do something, but just know anybody that's going forward that's associated with Praise, Gavin, Smokey. I'm missing one right now, I know. But
Will Kincaid.
Will. Yeah, thank you. Will. The rest of them, I just don't have time for it. And I want to be engaged with theists that actually want to have real conversations, like Eddie and Jim and
I can throw Otangelo into that as well, because I've had really good conversations with Otangelo.
I didn't even talk to Otangelo, absolutely. But there's some that we have a Skype group, and the people don't realize this. Tart has a Skype group that we have multiple Christians that we talk to every single Dan. Sorry, Dan. That we talk to Christians every single day, and you know what that does? It keeps you away from the echo chamber. It keeps you away from just talking about the same shit every day, where it's like, oh, atheists, we don't believe in God. Oh, atheists, we don't believe in God. Oh, atheists, we don't believe in God. But guess what? Guess what, Paul? Again, this isn't your fault. This isn't your fault at all. But the Praise and the Smokies and it's just a big echo fucking chamber. They're not challenging their own beliefs. They have no idea what the fuck they're talking about half the time.
Yeah, true. But don't you think we'd be going into streams like that and not engaging in that type of conversation and having a rational conversation with them? For people that are listening in the side chat,
Paul,
don't you think it shows them that how wrong they are about atheists?
No.
If you challenge them,
no, wait. Everybody, stop.
Okay.
Because I've been in Praises. I've shown up in Smokies. I've showed up in I can't remember the other one that I went to, but and I went to several times. They have zero interest in actually listening. You know what they want to do? They want to put on a show for their side chat. They want to put on a show for their followers to, ooh, look, we made the atheists look like a dumbass. We made the atheists look like they're foolish. They don't know shit, right? That's all they're doing. That's all they fucking do. And I'm at the point now where, what, I tried. Everybody told me, oh, Oz, you can't go into these certain channels and do it. And I was like, cool, I hear you, but I'm going to try it. And I've tried it. And you know what I found out? They were right. They were right. These people aren't in it to have real conversations. They're in it because they either want to get their dick sucked. They want to jack their own dick off. They're in it for their own pleasure. They have no desire to actually have a real conversation. So you know what I'd rather do, Paul, is we have a Skype group where we have it's 3 or 4 Christians and 3 or 4 atheists. And do you know what we do every day? We all talk about, what does it mean to believe? How did you get to believe? How do we measure belief? How do you know that your measuring stick is the right measuring stick for belief? And that's what we do. But then when you talk to these motherfuckers, it's about everything but that, right? It's all a bunch of bullshit. So I'm sorry for the long tangent, but I want to have real conversations. I don't want the praise that I am, and Gavin with no pants on, fucking talking shit. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing, and it gets nobody anywhere.
And also another thing that I'm doing might be different from you. You might want to adopt that. Is when I'm talking to a theist that I do find worthy talking to, I will point out that I'm not talking to that group. I will point out that the moment you've got someone on your channel who can't even take the effort to put on pants when they're on screen, I don't think that they should have those people in their community. And I've had a few Christians say, I'm not going to go there anymore if that's the case. And they've watched a few links that I sent them, and they cut them off as well. So that's another thing that I will do.
But part of the reason that Praise and Gavin talk the absolute toxic, volatile bullshit they do about me is because I told Praise and Gavin to their face that they are never welcome on our channel again, and that's why they hate me. But you know what? We're building this channel, and I do treat this as 2 things. One is a platform to normalize atheism, but also a platform to create a business. And if you think for one goddamn hot fucking second that I'm gonna have you back on our fucking channel when you came on there with no draws on, dude, get the fuck out of here. Are you serious?
Right. I mean,
I have one request before you leave, Oz. Sigma's in the side chat and had a request. Can you hold on? I need to look first, because otherwise I'm going to mess up. Oh shit! I lost it.
Say lying scumbag.
No. So can you just say who you are, Oz, just one time?
What do you mean?
Who are you?
He wants to record you for a soundboard.
Yeah. No. I'm not going to record anything.
Okay. Okay.
So just say your name, Oz.
Oz.
Oh, I get goose pimples when I hear that name.
Yeah, I do it.
that one's from Sigma and I. I think that's the best one. But
can I hear it put together?
What? Say that again.
You got to put them together, right? Like Oz. Ooh.
No, I'm going to use it so every single time someone says their own name, or someone else mentions someone, that I can put it there.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I thought he was going to record you, but he.
No. I'm not. I did this with Oz once, and I fucked up because I didn't record sound. I had Oz read out a meme that I've made, and I really wanted that soundbite because he has a cool voice, and it sounded good when he read it out, and I screwed that up. So otherwise, I'm going to tell people beforehand when I'm going to record anything.
All right. So before I go, record me saying my name with that ooh, and I want that too.
Okay, hold on.
I agree. Because I would laugh if I heard that on Amy's show. Just that together, I would laugh.
That motherfucker hates me.
Okay, Oz, say your name. I'll record it and I'll send it to you.
All right, count me down.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Oz.
Oh, I get goose pimples when I hear that name.
Okay. I think there was a slight glitch in it. I'll make sure that
Yeah.
I'll use the original sample and I'll put it together. And
Yeah.
I'll
Well, his
send it
audio
to you.
sounded good, but yeah. Anybody that says the phrase goose pimples instead of goosebumps, I don't trust you.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
Surprise,
I've
surprise.
never heard of that.
I grew up reading Goosebumps by R.L. Stein. I had the complete collection, and I take offense to that.
All right. Before I go, I do want to end with this. So most people that know me know I'm a big T-Jump fan. Tom's my homeboy, and him
Yeah,
and I
I
talk on a regular basis. And that's my dude. And we've got to hang out was it two times in real life, and he really is he's an even more cool motherfucker off camera than he is on camera. But this is one of my favorite interactions with T-Jump, the Jumpster, and the most hated Mr. Batman.
And if I would continue, it would be casting my pearls before swine, and I'm not going to do that. Have a nice day, sir. Repent or perish, you're on your way to hell. Next.
Now that is one person I don't have any time for. Is Batman.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
Batman.
still would like to talk to him sometime, but he's not worth any time on my channel, so it has to be that I bump into him somewhere.
Yeah, he only stays in one place. You're not going to bump into him unless you go to him. Yeah, he just huddles in his little hermit pad.
There's one guy. I think, Paul, you might know him, Sidney Winston, who has challenged him for a debate, and he hasn't showed up yet. I'm still waiting for that to happen.
I think it would be hilarious if I talked to Mr. Batman. And I do have people in my comments who want me to. So I've been trying to catch him on his Discord, but
Atheist Junior, I'm just telling you right now, before I go, as shitty as Darth is, Mr. Batman is shitty on a completely different for a completely different reason. He's much more disrespectful, like with mental health shit and all that. Like he's nasty. He's nasty. But
and the bigotry too.
Yeah, that's and the fact that I'm an English teacher. I'm a science teacher in elementary, so I know more than you. So listen up.
You have no evidence for any claim that you're making. You're willingly ignorant. You don't know the difference between belief and knowledge.
Yeah, did you hear? He doesn't even know the difference between fucking belief and knowledge.
Knowledge is a subset of belief, Mr. Bat fuck.
Yeah, you could just imagine that bloke 300-400 years ago. He'd be the one that was burning witches at the stake without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
he does not deserve the title of Batman.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone has seen it. The guy that I mentioned, if you haven't heard of him, Sidney Winston, look him up on YouTube and subscribe to his channel. He played a clip of Mr. Batman while he was protesting at, I think, was some kind of pride parade.
Yes.
There were a couple of mothers who came up to him and asked him to change his language because there were kids present and he wouldn't do it.
Oh, he's
That's how big of a douchebag he is.
Yeah, wasn't that next to a car at a junction and like an intersection next to a car park? Yes.
Yeah, that was it.
Batman's a goddamn dick. There's no hiding that. But I'm gonna dip out. Atheist Junior, it was great chatting with you earlier, and I'll say it again publicly. You're a badass. You're a badass, man. And you deserve all the good shit coming to you. And let me see, let me hear, let me watch one motherfucker that tries to cross you, or get sassy with you. I got you. You don't have to say a word. You don't have to say a word. I'm on that shit. Brady, great meeting you tonight. Peter, as always, make sure you send me that soundboard shit.
I get goosebumps when I hear that name.
I need
The glories of the genius and eruditeness of Peter Drucker right now. I mean, I'm hanging on every word of his brilliance.
I need that shit in my life. And
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to the last one I'm going to make with Oz in the name, because I do have a soundbite where it's talking about you. So I'll take out.
So I would like to know, how is Oz's reasoning as a grown adult any different than being a snot-nosed pothead teenager who's just simply being argumentative?
Oh, that's crazy.
I'll make sure you get those.
A pothead. I haven't smoked pot in like 20 years. But and Paul, I still got mad love for you. But if you keep fucking with Praise and Gavin, I can't fuck with you no more.
I hear you. No worries.
We'll talk more, Oz, and if anybody, like, I try to do my best if I'm talking to somebody like, or a theist, I try to be respectful as possible. So if somebody takes the conversation there, it was not me who escalated it.
Oh,
so that's all I'll say.
No, when it came to the shit with Paul, like anybody and everybody that hears it now and in the future, I took it there because Paul and I have seen each other there, and I've separated myself, and I don't fuck with those dudes because they talked. Well, when Paul go back to the last 2 or 3 streams they had, all they do is take shots at my mental health and who I am as a person, who I'm as a man. So if I really don't give a shit if it's Paul or Peter or Brady or Atheist Jr. If you're going to align yourself with those motherfuckers, I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen that stream. I can't remember last time I saw that stream. Be at least a week ago. The last time I actually was listening, or even in the side chat in one of their streams.
Yeah.
So
if I'm just telling you right now, and I'm gonna dip out. If you go look at because even right, like, I'm even getting aggressive right now because I wish I knew Praise. I wish I knew where he lived, because I would go check his ass. I would go check his ass eyeball to eyeball, because he would not have brought that energy. He would not have brought that smoke if we were eyeball to eyeball. But he was on there, and when he did the review of the debate that Rage and myself and Randolph had, and he like so many insults and so many shots at mental health and all that, and I will say it publicly, I wish I knew where he lived, because I would go knock on his door and say, all right, now say that shit eyeball to eyeball, like say that shit man to man. I don't think you got it in you. I don't think you have the sack to do it face to face, but you'll do it behind screen where you just hide. You never show your face. You never do anything like that. And you just try to be the tough guy, do all that, all the imitations that he tries to do, right? And that's what I'm saying. Whether it's Peter, Brady, Atheist, Paul, or any of you, like if you're gonna fucks with them dudes, I'm good. Fuck you.
Yeah, if you're gonna do impressions of people, at least be good at it, like I am.
That's right. That's right.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Oh, James.
Now,
See, I was gonna leave. Now James shows up. God damn it.
you get out of here.
I just got on because I heard you guys talk about Praise and Gavin. I was just thinking that, when you have an adult who talks to a magical man in the sky, they're probably not the best ones to be diagnosing mental illness. Just saying.
You got a point.
So yeah. So Atheist Jr. tangled with Darth Dawkins. Do we have the videos up yet?
No, I wasn't able to clip that. I figured, like, I will admit that I kind of messed up the recording because I was watching it back and because I have a Chromebook and I just did the built-in screen recording feature, and the way I messed it up was I switched the output of my computer, instead of being like on my microphone, to the computer speakers, and that way it didn't. Am I echoing? It didn't get Darth's audio, but I know how to do it right now. So I'm gonna talk with him again. But like we were saying earlier, somebody probably recorded it.
Tom Rabbit has.
Oh, Tom. Hey, Tom
yeah.
Rabbit, did you get that? Tom Rabbit, did you get that?
I could tell you about like how the conversation went, because it was mostly him asking me, about if the universe was eternal, and talking about Lawrence Krauss, and a huge part of the conversation was about Sean Carroll, and because he was asking me if I why he kept asking me, why do you think the universe is eternal, or how did you come to that conclusion? And every time I would give my answer, he would cut me off in the middle of it and complain about the answer. And I was telling him, well, you're asking me how I came to the conclusion. Like, if you disagree with it or you think it's stupid, like, that's okay, but at least let me tell you how I came to the conclusion. I can't give you any other answer than the honest one, but
welcome to Darth's Road.
Yeah. So what I was telling him, and maybe I didn't word it in the best way, was that, Sean Carroll thinks that the universe is eternal. And the way I look at it is, if you look at the arrow of time, or if you try to if you're looking back to where the Big Bang happened, and, you're kind of taking the clock backwards, when you try to get to zero, like, time becomes infinite, basically, where the density becomes infinite. So you never actually get to like an origin point. Time just, the numbers just become infinite. And Sean Carroll says that the universe may be infinite and it looks a certain way now, but it looked different before. And the Big Bang may not have been the start of the entire universe. It may just be a different stage of the universe. Yeah. And he kept asking me, well, what does Sean Carroll think about this? Or what? And I was like, you'd have to ask him. Why are you asking me? Like, I don't know.
That's why he's so frustrating to talk to.
He recently was on a stream with Aaron Ross, so it's not that hard to try and catch up with what he actually thinks.
Darth or Sean?
Sean. I didn't know that. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, he's a great guy, because I got on. I produced the show, and I got on. Literally, the first thing that he did is try to punk me. So he's got a sense of humor as well. Great sense of humor.
All right, I'm signing off. I just converted to Muslim.
Oh, well, praise Allah. Allah Akbar. Whatever they say.
Something like that. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes. Praise be to Muhammad. Peace and glory be on his name.
Peace be upon him. Yeah.
Peace be upon him. Papa.
Well, that's why it's so frustrating. Oh, have a great night, Oz.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah. that is actually the correct response, Oz. You should know that. Alhamdulillah.
No,
perfect.
I fucking learned it. Why are you guys mocking me? I learned it.
I wasn't. I didn't.
I've had Muslim friends since the 70s, so I know a few things. Not a lot, because I'm not that interested, but I do know a couple of things.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Love you.
Well, I can only have 6 people in, so I was gonna say, if somebody wants us to jump in, we got a space now.
Yeah, that's the thing with Darth is when you're talking to him, he just keeps throwing punches at you, so you never really have a chance to get a footing and explain yourself. Because he cuts you off, he asks more questions, and he's interrogating you basically.
Well, the strategy I had with him was that I was going to not interrupt Darth, and I was just going to let him ask his questions and just kind of try my best to give the answers. And I wasn't going to like start yelling at him and start over talking him, because some people do that with Darth. I've seen conversations with people where, they're interrupting just as much as him, and Darth, it's not always a one-sided thing where Darth is the only one misbehaving, and those type of videos are just sort of unwatchable in my opinion, because it just turns into a shouting match, and it's like I can't even follow this conversation. So, I wasn't going to let, like I said earlier, I'm not the one that escalated. Darth was the one that started yelling at me, and I was calm the whole time. So in my opinion, if you do that to these type of people, you let them make themselves look bad. And that's why I lasted as long as I did, because it was funny, because in the call, like he was saying, I've talked to, the atheist philosophers on YouTube, and none of the conversations lasted longer than 15 minutes. And I was like,
how long were on?
The first one was about 50 minutes. So it was almost an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I actually contradicted Darth, because I told him, well, I saw your talk with Alex Malpass, and that went longer than 15 minutes. And, he's a philosophy PhD, and, so I scored a point on him there, and I called him out for calling atheists cockroaches, and he tried to say that he only does that talking about certain atheists as if that makes it okay. But I heard him in when he was just, with his Christian buddies, there was nobody else in there, an old recording where he was just saying that atheists are cockroaches, which is the definition of bigotry.
He probably heard that from Smokey. It reminds me of when me and Amy debated Smokey, and we pretty much stayed calm the whole time and just let him blow up, numerous times in the debate, where he was visibly angry. He just made an ass out of himself, but he couldn't help it. That's just who he is.
Anyway, can I just jump in? I'm gonna have to run. I'll have to catch you all later.
Have a good night, Paul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Catch you later, Paul.
Yeah, catch you all later. Bye.
Bye.
Yep. Yeah. That is definitely a good strategy, I think, because but I was able to kind of hold my position, because I was telling him, like this, you're asking me how I came to be an atheist or came to think that the universe is eternal, and I just told him that, the reason he kicked me out the reason he booted me the first time was equally as stupid as the reason he booted me the second time. He was asking me some specific question about something that Sean Carroll had said, and I gave him an answer of I was like, this is what he said, and he was like, when did Sean Carroll say that? Tell me, show me when he said that. And I was like, I don't have a timestamped link to the YouTube video off the top of my head right now, and he booted me.
Yeah.
I can't show you right now, what, and then I was saying that yesterday on Amy's stream.
If you ask him to do the same thing, he's not going to be able to.
That's like where when he's like, show me the evidence right now for evolution, right here. Give me all the evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
pull it out of your back pocket.
Yeah, he's like, we don't have any evidence of a kind becoming another kind. And I was like, well, multicellular algae is a new kind. And he was like, okay. I just love it. The points in that debate where Kent has nothing to say, in response to what I'm saying.
Yeah, we don't have one day where people were speaking Old English and then the next following day it was modern English. It was very gradual, so much so that you could never notice the difference from one day to the next. but after 300-400 years, yeah.
Yeah, and one thing that was interesting in the debate, Peter, I don't know if you noticed this or if you've seen any of Kent's old videos where he says that all mutations are harmful or fatal, and he shows some quote mine where it says that if you get 3 nucleotide changes, it kills the organism. He said that before, but when I told him my analogy um, about why DNA is different than a computer code, because with DNA you can change many of the letters around, not a ton of them, but you can change up to a couple letters around. I don't know how many, but and you'll have no change whatsoever in the organism. You won't have any mutations or anything happen. But with computer code, if you have a single character out of place, it can mess up everything.
Right.
And he said later, he was saying that, oh, well, the DNA code, computer code, you can, like I said, only have like one character messed up, but in the DNA, God designed it to where it can get around that and it could fix mistakes in the next generation. And so he was totally contradicting himself of what he said before based on what I told him, trying to match what I said. And
That's
I
like
just noticed that.
where they say, "Oh, there is junk DNA. It's all important. One letter out of place, and the whole thing falls apart." But that's just not true.
Right. And I will say that like analogy, that came from me. I thought that went up. But there was some stuff that I got from. Yeah, I did pick and choose some things from other people, like the thing about me writing a better version of the Bible. That was from Matt Dillahunty, which I thought that was such a great quote. I was like, I have to use that. And some of the thing about the 2 chromosome difference in an animal, I had heard that in some creationist debates I had seen before, and I think it's good that I can sort of add different things to my debate, because there are some great, there's some very clever people that have debated Ken Hovind, and I've seen so many of the debates, like the algae thing. I'm the 4th person to debate Kent that has brought that up, and every time he said that, oh, I'll look into that, and he acted like it was the first time he had seen it again.
Yeah, I don't think he ever learns anything or looks anything
I hate
up.
whenever they. I hate whenever they use the code analogy, because you guys know the lawsuit that the Pittsmiller versus Dober trial.
Yeah.
Like, they had literally said that if DNA was created, then you shouldn't. Then like every single letter or representation of a letter should have a purpose, and that there should be no junk DNA. And it was proven that there was, and the atheist had won when the judge and jury were mostly Christian.
Yeah, that was a bloodbath. That was, because they're always saying, well, Ken Hovind's always saying, in a court of law, you wouldn't have any evidence for evolution, but that's just not true. We put it before a court, and they said his science was junk.
Yeah, and Kent basically wrote a bill that was attempted to be passed in Arkansas, saying that all the stuff that was allegedly, stuff that was used to teach evolution that had been proven wrong, and the court didn't pass it. So I guess that means it wasn't a fair court of law then. But
it's like, education's bad enough as it is. Like,
can you imagine? Yeah, making it even worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be
Earth. You might as well teach that if you're going to teach creation.
Yeah, I don't think he expected me to bring up that from that bill, because I've never heard anybody talk about that in a debate.
I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, I could
bill?
send you a link. I could send you a link to it or put a link in the chat. But seriously, if you read the bill, like it's like 2 or 3 pages long, and it's just talking about like putting or maybe I can maybe I'll send Peter the link and he can screen share it actually.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second.
When was the bill proposed? Was it recent?
It was back in the mid 2000s, I think.
Okay. While he was still in prison?
No, this was when before that when he was in Pensacola.
Oh, before he went to prison. Okay.
He probably saw it and acted like he never saw it.
Yeah, it was in 2001.
Yeah, because he's never brought it up. Not that I've noticed.
Yeah, I put the link in the chat, Peter, if you can.
In Arkansas, that's probably 85% Christian in that state, somewhere around there. And even there, they couldn't, pass that as a law.
Yeah, but I just think that it just show I included that in the debate because he said that he's not trying to get creationism in school, but it's like, well, how do you explain this? You worked with a politician to try and make it so like textbooks that basically have evolution in them can't be bought. And he actually the bill could have actually made it to where it was illegal to have a tax to have the schools get books that have fossils as evidence. Oh, sorry. The way the bill was written, it could have actually made that illegal.
Yeah, and the whole thing about Kent saying that evolution is a religion is literally just for the freedom of religion, where you can't teach a specific religion in schools.
The
Like
First
that's
Amendment.
the only reason he says.
Well,
That's the only reason he says that.
Religion is
Obviously, he says it not because he has actual evidence.
Well,
God, no.
he's trying to throw the ball in our court because we say he has no evidence, he just has faith. So then he says, well, that's the same with you guys. You guys have faith in evolution, no evidence. But that's
I
some analogy.
love how he simultaneously thinks that evolution shouldn't be taught in school because that's a violation of, I guess, the First Amendment, but at the same time is trying to get his religious like propaganda taught in schools. And he also is a sovereign citizen who doesn't think that he's a U.S. citizen. So it's like, how are you trying to quote the Bill of Rights? And at the same time, he also doesn't think that the First Amendment has anything, that the Constitution has anything about separation of church and state in it. He said all of those things, and they all contradict each other.
Yeah, that's one of his talking points is, well, don't teach anything. If he could make them teach creation, I'm sure he would. It just sounds bad.
Yeah, and I had that in my opening statement. I was like, should you just teach nothing? Like, yeah, Peter, if you could scroll down to where it's got the list of things, like, and maybe read some of them, because I'm not sure if people can see that on the screen if the text is big enough.
It looks
I don't
a
know.
bit too blurry for me.
Yeah, you might have to zoom in on the thing,
yeah.
but if
Yeah,
Peter
that's
can
better.
oh yeah, now I can see it. But yeah, if you look at this, it almost looks like the bill was handwritten by Kent. And to me, the idea that Kent Hovind actually got a bill proposed that could have influenced the education in a whole state is kind of scary to me. I mean, I know it didn't pass, but it's just yeah, let's see. This is again what he's saying at the top. Evidence of scientific work once believed to be true may have been proven false or fraudulent. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's saying, okay, things have been wrong in science before. That's part of the process. You get new information that's better.
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
Kent's living proof that you can be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, I mean, it only takes one representative out of them all to introduce a bill. So, I mean, he only had to convince one of them that this was a good idea, but even then, that's still, sad that he could do that.
It missed passing by 6 votes. There were 6 people who vote on the panel that voted against passing it, which is too close for my comfort. But
Yeah, that's scary.
if you look, it says the Ernst Haeckel was convicted of fraud. Human embryos never have gills, not even rudimentary ones. It was so weird in the debate. I said that with the gill slits are not actual gills in human embryos. They're pharyngeal arches in human embryos. They're the same structure in fish embryos. In fish, when the embryos become adults, they are gills, but in humans, they are not. They're glands and bones. And Kent said, that you're deliberately misrepresenting this. And then he proceeded to repeat all of the stuff I just said. I don't know if y'all noticed that, but he said they aren't actually gills in humans. They only turn into glands and bones.
Right.
They're not really. I was like, that's what I said.
Yeah, he doesn't understand that they can take the
And he
same.
proceeded to say that he had folds in his leg, and he said he
like his
can't
elbow.
breathe through those, which is a straw man because you didn't do that.
Yeah, I know. He says
Like,
they
no
never
one
turn
said
into
that.
gills. I'm like, they do turn into gills into fish. Ken?
Yeah. He doesn't understand that the body can take that same tissue and turn it into different things. Like human genitalia. Early on, they all look the same, and then that same material gets moved around differently, but it's the same template.
Yeah, it's basically like you have the earliest part of the genitals is what develops into a clitoris in a female, but in a male is because the tip of the dick, which is the most sensitive part. So that it's logical,
Yeah, it's the same tissue. It's just something different is done with it, and that's why you can have people that are intersex, because there was a problem that took place when the body was there was an anomaly that took place when the body was designing it.
Yeah, and so this
the,
bill.
It's how evolution works. It's like same thing, different function.
Yeah, it says Archaeopteryx as a missing link, and that's it. So this means that Arkansas schools could not pay tax dollars to have a book that mentions Archaeopteryx, period, as a missing link.
Fossil, or Ken says it doesn't count.
Right. It says that later, which means that you could basically have it be where you can't have anything about fossils in a science textbook saying it's evidence for evolution. That and
I think even if it passed, they would have the courts would have ruled against it, because that's basically blatant endorsement of religion.
Well, yeah. Well, Kent is very careful for this bill to not mention anything about religion, but also the word evolution never comes up, because he's said before that this is not an anti-evolution bill. Somehow.
It's not anti-evolution. It's just we don't want evolution anywhere.
So it's carefully worded, but it still is a de facto endorsement of religion.
It's like I'm not racist. I just don't like black people.
Right. Okay. I made a mistake. Actually, it says under the Archaeopteryx as a missing link thing that an X-ray resonance showed the material containing the feather impressions differed significantly from the rest of the fossil slab. This is not Archaeopteryx. This is Archaeoraptor. This is the 2 fossils that were. It was one fossil presented as one fossil that National Geographic presented, but it was actually Archaeoraptor and a different fossil that had been pieced together. So this is blatantly wrong. He's confused the 2 things. Archaeopteryx, there's nothing wrong with Archaeopteryx. So this is blatantly false. And then saying that you shouldn't have peppered moths in the textbooks because the photographs used in current textbooks are fraudulent, as the moths were discovered to be dead and glued in place. Okay, well, the scientific experiments of the peppered moth showed that it is evidence for evolution, but sure, they're going to do that to get a picture of a moth, because the moth will fly away if you try to take a picture of it. So who cares if they're actually dead? That's not the point. That doesn't make it fraudulent. Like,
still true that they did change color based on the environment.
right. So that's just such a stupid reason for
Went for
It's like-
straw, you know.
It's like, this is what happened, and this is what it may look like. Doesn't mean it's wrong, even
Like-
if it stayed.
the people who read this bill, who probably didn't know like the specifics of it, were probably like, what is he talking about? Like, so what does this mean? Like, you can tell how lazy Kent was, because there's such a small amount of text on here. Like, it just shows his academic abilities. It almost looks like it was copied and pasted from a Kent seminar.
I mean, he's a facile man, so he doesn't really know enough to write a whole lot.
Yeah. Can we scroll down a little bit, Peter, and show the next ones? Yeah. Yeah, go to the next page. All the Peking Meng and stuff, we all know about that. Okay, Charles Oxnard. Charles Oxnard studied 16 years and used computer multivariate analysis and concluded Lucy is not intermediate. You can't do a multivariate analysis of one thing. That's why it's called multivariant.
Yeah, but you ask him what Lucy is. Is it a chimpanzee? Is it a human? Because it doesn't look quite like either one. So he's just gonna say it's a deformed one or the other.
It's a chimpanzee type animal. Okay.
Deformed, so it looks more human, but it's not.
Yeah. Vestigial structures. As science improves, our knowledge of the body has increased, and functions of parts formerly thought to be useless are becoming known, and no proven vestigial structures exists. That's some good grammar.
Using the wrong definition of vestigial.
And I told Kent that in the debate. But yeah, I like the bad grammar, and there are spelling mistakes in this bill as well, which just shows how professional it is.
I was just wondering, has Kent managed to debunk DNA since since it shows I forget which monkey or which ape it is, but it's like only a two letter difference.
It's a 2% difference between the DNA of chimps
2%.
and humans of the genome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, has Kent managed to debunk entire DNA?
His response
stuff
to that
he's
is
used.
Stuff
that he's used as evidence.
Well, I've heard him talk about the 2% difference between the genomes of chimps and humans, and what he said is that there are actually some papers that say that it's actually 6% or that it's actually 8%, but that all that is that if you examine the two genomes in one way, you get 2%. If you do it in a different way, you get a slightly different percentage, but it's okay, it's still above 90%. What is it? You get to a certain percentage and suddenly it is evidence of evolution, or it's only evidence if it's
but even at 80% would still be pretty compelling.
Right. Well, if you look at the ears of chimps, they are identical to humans. There's no animal on Earth that has ears as similar to humans as chimpanzees are. They're basically identical.
So, I mean, Kent will say that God specifically designed humans. It's the pinnacle of his creation. It's the most important creation to him. But basically, he copy and pasted 90% of chimp DNA, and he wasn't going to write all that again. He's just yeah, we'll take most of it and just change a little bit.
Well, it was almost the seventh day, and he wanted to sleep, so.
And AJ, not to be rude, but with the ear thing, I don't want to seem like a dick, but you know how I think it's octopuses or it's squids. I can't remember, but they have this they have their eyes are the same to ours, except not like except one part of the eye isn't backwards.
Yeah,
So I don't want to be.
the blood vessels are behind the eye rather than being in front of them, I think.
Yeah, and like the eyes are nearly identical. I don't want to be rude, but
Well,
yeah.
between those two animals, like the
Hmm?
squid and the octopus, or the squid and the octopus,
No, I
or
was saying
the squid and us.
no, I was saying the squid and octopus, like one or the other. I can't remember which one. But they have eyes that look like or that are like just like ours.
Well, the squid has eyes that evolved from mutations based on the exact same Cox genes as humans did. So, but to me, that's just more evidence because you have animals that are extremely closely related when it comes to DNA to humans who have features that are very similar, like the ear on a chimp. And then you have animals that are very, very different, which is what Ken likes to compare, but a squid and a human, and they have eyes that develop from the same genes or that look or function very
different
similar.
environments, but they've come to the same conclusion that this eye is, ideal.
Right. And
I hate when he talks about the stupid whale pelvis when he makes that argument, and he says they couldn't walk on land with these things, and they're not vestigial, they're for the reproductive system. It's like, yes, Kent, they're not for walking anymore, and the reason that they're so much smaller and not gone totally is because at their current size they can fill that residual function that they are used for, but they don't need to be full size for walking because they don't walk.
If they didn't evolve, then why did God give them 2 bones instead of 1?
Or finger bones.
Right.
But
he could have just had 1 bone there instead of broken up like leg bones.
Yeah, I was talking about in their fins. They have like finger bones that are the finger, hand, and wrist bones, just like humans and mammals. But
and
I responded.
It has like a little pelvis.
Yeah, I said, I asked him, is it a coincidence that these bones that scientists are saying used to be leg bones are in the exact same position that they would be on a 4-legged animal? And his response to me was that, of course, they're in that spot because that's where the genitalia of a 4-legged animal would be. And I was like, yeah, that's what I just said.
Which is the same place as the genitalia.
Where else would they be?
Yeah, that was like it was like, are you agreeing with me? Like, and
it would be like it would be the opposite of evidence for evolution if they were anywhere else.
Right. And one of I was going to say earlier, one of the questions, because he dodged many of my questions, and one of the questions that he dodged was, I asked him, scientists say they have proof for common ancestry, which is the genetics, but what's your proof of common designer of animals? And what he said was, the proof is that farmers have seen that dogs produce dogs.
Yeah, that's not really on point, but
how does that prove a common designer at all? What, like, you could, it was funny because you could tell Kent, he said that the proof was, and then he paused for a second. You could tell he was trying to think of something to say, and then he says, well, there are farmers that, like, and the script just clicked on in his head, like, that has nothing to do with the question.
I'm just hoping for one day when someone says something that he can't just say okay or just dismiss. So where he just looks at all the people behind the camera, like Jack Slob. I don't think I said that right. But I don't think that's ever going to happen because he's just too good at dismissing things that completely destroys arguments.
Well, it was like when right at the beginning of the open discussion, I asked him, like, you say that you're paying for evolution to be taught in schools, but aren't you a tax exempt ministry? And then there's just this dead silence. And then Kent is like, oh, were you like, he was like, are you asking me? Like, yeah. And then he was like, yeah, you know, we're a tax exempt ministry, so we don't pay any property tax. And but there are lies in the textbook. That's a non sequitur, you know.
Yeah, and like the only organizations that are tax exempt are the nonprofit ones.
That's
And
what his
the
ministry
only
is.
reason churches are tax exempt is because like only a few churches are, you know, are nonprofit sometime. Thankfully, my church is, so that's at least some kind of good, I guess.
Well, if they register as a 501c3 corporation, they get tax exemption, and that status can be taken away. But Kent, before he went to jail, his ministry was not tax exempt. He just wasn't paying any taxes.
Yeah, he
I
was
mean,
reporting anything.
he may have been paying property taxes, but I know he didn't file any permits to build the properties that he had, which the state got real mad at him for. And so beforehand he was complaining about his tax dollars going to evolution or Teach Evolution, even though he didn't pay any income tax for 20 years, didn't pay social security taxes. And then so he goes to jail and then
I think that's on purpose.
Yeah.
Like
and
him
now
complaining how much
501c3.
about, because he keeps talking about, oh, I keep having to take or pay my taxes because I've always been paying my taxes, and I've never been paying my taxes.
He just says I paid the tax I owe because he doesn't recognize most of them as legitimate, so he doesn't think.
That's the implication, that I pay every tax I owe, meaning that he thinks that there are some taxes that he doesn't owe the government.
Sovereign citizen bullshit that taxes are theft, and
yeah, like him saying that he pays gas tax. It's like, so but you pay that because you have to. You wouldn't pay it if you didn't want to.
That doesn't go to education. That goes for the highways.
Right. You know, like that was something where he had to admit that I was right. So I have to wonder what the people in the room thought of that. Although I think it's funny. I saw an old debate with Kent or an old seminar of his where he was complaining and he used the phrase us taxpayers. And that just cracked me up. Like, us taxpayers shouldn't have to, you know, have it go to this. Like, you don't get to choose what your taxes go to.
I love in that debate with Professor Dave, he just nailed Kent on that when Kent's doing his, my tax dollars, and Professor Dave's like, Kent, your tax dollars, Kent. He realized put his foot in his mouth there.
Yeah, like that debate was he was a lot more aggressive than I was, and I love that debate with Professor Dave, but I did try to hold back a little bit compared to that because Dave just gave no fucks in that debate.
Yeah,
I didn't want Kent to like shut off, because I know, you know, if you bring up his prison sentence or him avoiding taxes, you know, he's going to like clam up. So all I said was that right now, DAL is a 501c3 ministry. I didn't bring up any of the stuff from his past, but so he had to admit that, because I don't care about the past. We're talking about right now. You don't pay any property taxes. And I even had screenshots of a 2017 tax return that shows, under property taxes, it has a big goose egg of him paying 0, but he admitted it himself, you know, so I didn't even have to include that. Because I wasn't.
Do you still need the screen share?
Let's just go. Is there anything left to scroll down a little bit? I think that's it. But scroll down. Yeah.
No,
Okay, we're good on that. Page. Yeah. So you could see how short that bill was, but yeah, it's just I forgot what I was saying a second ago, but
The tax return you said?
Yeah, in my opening presentation, which I'm really happy with how it turned out, because when I watched the debate again, I getting to listen back to it. I'm real happy with how it turned out, and I'm glad that I spent time, like I rehearsed it like several times where I would record it, and because I didn't want to be like stumbling over my words when I read it, and luckily that didn't happen too much. But um, when I would have put, I was thinking about putting the tax return in there and bringing up the 501c3 thing, but I decided against it because I was like, you know what, I want to have this in my back pocket for one. I know he's going to bring up that he pays for evolution to be taught in public schools because it's a debate about public schools, and I want to have that in my back pocket so I can spring it on him in an open discussion, because it loses the kind of oomph when I just sort of say it, because then it's a lot easier for him to ignore it in the rest of the debate or the open discussion. And I think it definitely was a good idea to do that.
Yeah, if he knows you're going to go there, he'll probably he won't open that door for you.
Yeah, I could tell that the bill thing caught him off guard, because he mentioned Jim Holt, and rewatching the debate, I definitely saw things where I was thinking like, oh, I should have nailed Kent on that, but it was going like, it was so hectic when I was in the middle of it. And I don't know if you watch that debate and you see the part where the end of the open discussion, I think it is, I finished talking at the end, and I don't know why, but SFT said that because I went first, he had me give my closing statement right after I had just finished talking. And in that part, I was so tired by then.
That wasn't correct either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had just finished talking, and then I was hoping he would make Kent go, but he had me talk. He told me to give a closing statement of 3 minutes, which was way too long. And I was so like mentally exhausted by that point that you could kind of hear it, that I'm like struggling to find the next word to say or to like think of something to say. But yeah, so at some point I was just like, yeah, let's just go to Q&A. Like, and Kent was saying the same thing too. He was like, are we going to go to Q&A now? Like, you could tell Kent wanted to get it over with.
Always in a hurry. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Kent wanted a pushover debate, like somebody like, I hate to say it, but like David P. Neff, who is, he's a friend of the channel, but Kent really like steamrolled him in that debate, just talking over him, and just not letting David get like the points in. And he wanted a debate where he could just gish gallop and just talk endlessly and not get challenged on stuff. And I think, me challenging just about everything he would say, like, I think he got worn out pretty fast, which was funny to watch. But
it was a good debate, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm probably going to cut the stream short pretty soon. But did you guys have anything else you wanted to say before we sort of start winding down?
I've got some. So I've been pretty much silent for this whole time. There's a reason for that. I was working on your overlay. I think I got it done.
Oh wow! Well, thank you for that. You mean for StreamYard?
If you want to see it, that's possible. If you want to do that offline, that's possible. That's up to you.
Yeah, you could just send it to me on Twitter DM.
I can show you right after you go off air.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I've got it pulled up in OBS, so if I turn my camera on right now, you're going to see it.
Yeah, we'll do that when it goes offline.
Yeah, and then I'd have a request if the other guys could stick around, so there would at least be something to show, because if there are no guests, then it looks different.
Okay, well,
hang on. Yep.
All right. Well, I think we'll end it there, and all right. Do I just end the broadcast?
Yep.
Okay.